The quantum array picked up the signal at 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen had been staring at the same data streams for so long that she almost missed it. A ripple in the quantum fabric that shouldn't have been there. The massive detector array, stretching across the Atacama Desert, had been searching for exactly this kind of anomaly for 15 years. Now that it was here, Sarah's hands trembled as she initiated the confirmation protocols. Computer, run full spectrum analysis on signal key A7249. She commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The holographic displays around her workstation blazed to life, casting her face in an eerie blue glow. The signal was unlike anything they'd ever detected, a perfectly structured quantum signature that repeated with mathematical precision. This wasn't random cosmic noise. This was a message. Sarah reached for her comm unit, hesitated for a moment, then pressed the emergency contact button. Within minutes, the quiet solitude of her midnight shift was shattered as the facility came alive with activity. Dr. James Martinez, her mentor and the project director, burst into the control room still wearing his pajamas under his lab coat. "Show me," he demanded, leaning over her shoulder to study the displays. His eyes widened as he processed the data. "My God, Sarah. This is it, isn't it? The signal maintains quantum coherence across interstellar distances," she explained, highlighting key portions of the data. "That's supposedly impossible. Someone out there has mastered technology we've only dreamed about." The next 48 hours passed in a blur of activity. Government officials arrived, military personnel secured the facility, and a team of the world's top physicists gathered to analyze the signal. Sarah barely slept, running on caffeine and adrenaline as they worked to decode the message embedded in the quantum signature. When they finally cracked it, the message was deceptively simple: coordinates for a quantum entanglement connection, followed by a greeting in mathematical notation. The aliens, the Meridian Collective, as they called themselves, wanted to talk. The decision to respond was made at the highest levels of government. Humanity had been searching for signs of intelligent life for centuries. Now that we'd found it, there was no question of remaining silent. Sarah led the team that established the quantum link, using the aliens' provided specifications to modify their array. The first real-time communication with an alien civilization took place exactly 1 week after the initial signal detection. Sarah sat in the control room, surrounded by government officials, military brass, and fellow scientists, as the quantum link stabilized. The alien that appeared on their screens was both familiar and utterly foreign. It had a humanoid shape, but its body seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. When it spoke, its words were translated by an AI system they'd provided in the initial data package. "Greetings, people of Earth," the being said, its voice carrying an oddly musical quality. "We are the Meridian Collective, and we have been watching your development with great interest." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine at those words. How long had they been watching? Why reveal themselves now? The alien continued, "Your species stands at a crucial threshold. We have chosen this moment to make contact because we believe you are ready for advancement. We offer you access to our technology, our knowledge, and our protection within the greater galactic community." The room erupted in excited murmurs, but Sarah noticed something in the alien's tone that made her uneasy. There was an almost predatory quality to its offer, hidden beneath layers of diplomatic pleasantry. "What do you want in return?" she asked before anyone could stop her. The military attaché shot her a warning look, but the alien seemed pleased by her directness. "Merely your collaboration," it replied. "We will guide your species toward its full potential. In exchange, we ask only that you allow us to establish a presence on your world and integrate our systems with your infrastructure. For your protection, of course." The negotiations that followed were swift and overwhelmingly positive. The Meridians offered solutions to climate change, clean energy, advanced medical technology, everything humanity had been struggling to achieve. Their only conditions were the establishment of Meridian bases on Earth and the integration of their quantum network with Earth's communication systems. Sarah spent the next month working closely with the Meridian technical team, helping to establish the infrastructure for their gifts. The aliens were remarkably forthcoming with their technology, almost eager to share it. But as she worked with their systems, she began to notice patterns that didn't add up. Their quantum network specifications required direct access to military and civilian communications. Their clean energy systems needed to be integrated into every power grid on the planet. Their medical technology required a complete database of human genetic information. Late one night, as she was reviewing the technical specifications for the millionth time, she discovered something hidden in the quantum noise, a secondary network that would run parallel to the main systems. When she tried to access its purpose, the entire system locked her out. Sarah sat back in her chair, her heart pounding. The Meridians had answered humanity's oldest question. We were not alone in the universe. But as she stared at the locked files and thought about the overwhelming generosity of their new alien friends, a more terrifying question formed in her mind. What if first contact wasn't the miracle they'd all assumed it to be? What if, instead of salvation, they'd invited in their executioners? She began to dig deeper, working in secret during her night shifts. The Meridians' technology was advancing human civilization by decades, but every gift came with hidden strings attached. They were building a web around Earth, and humanity was helping them do it. As the first Meridian structures began to rise in cities across the globe, Sarah Chen made a decision that would change the course of human history. She compiled her findings and encrypted them using a quantum algorithm of her own design. Then she sent the package to a select group of scientists and military officials who might understand what she'd discovered. The message was simple. The price of tomorrow may be everything we are today. We need to talk. The Meridians' offer of advancement came with a cost, one that humanity hadn't even realized it was paying. As Sarah sent her message out into the world, she wondered if they'd figure it out in time. Because with each passing day, as more of their technology integrated into Earth's systems, humanity's window for choice grew smaller. And somewhere above them, in ships that had yet to reveal themselves, the Meridian Collective watched their plan unfold exactly as it had on countless worlds before. Sarah's warning spread through secure channels like a digital wildfire. Within days, a core group of scientists, military strategists, and government officials had gathered in a secure facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room hummed with tension as Sarah presented her findings. The quantum network isn't just for communication, she explained, projecting a complex diagram of interweaving data streams. It's designed to create a massive control system. Every piece of Meridian technology we implement adds another strand to their web. Admiral Helena Torres, a veteran of cyber warfare, studied the data with narrowed eyes. How much control are we talking about? Total, Sarah replied. Once fully implemented, they could shut down our power grids, disable our weapons, even control our medical systems. We're not just giving them access, we're giving them ownership. The revelation sparked heated debate. Some argued for immediate suspension of all Meridian technology integration. Others pointed out that half the world's major cities were already running on Meridian power systems. Millions of people were being treated with their medical technology. The global economy had become dependent on their quantum network. We can't just pull the plug, argued economic advisor Chen Wei. The resulting chaos would tear our society apart. If we don't, countered Sarah, we might not have a society left to save. As they debated, more disturbing information emerged. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, an xenolinguist who had been studying the Meridian language, discovered patterns in their communication that suggested deception. Their words were carefully chosen, their promises technically true but fundamentally misleading. They never actually lie, she explained. They just let us draw the wrong conclusions. When they say they want to guide our potential, they mean they want to control our development. When they offer protection, they mean from ourselves. The evidence mounted. Military satellites detected cloaked ships in orbit, far more than the Meridians had admitted to. Quantum researchers found backdoors in every piece of alien technology. Anthropologists noted similarities between the Meridians' approach and historical patterns of colonial conquest. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Martinez, working with a team of archaeologists, discovered ancient ruins in the Gobi Desert. The structures contained warnings written in dozens of alien languages, all telling the same story. The Meridians were not benefactors, but conquerors who had perfected the art of bloodless invasion. They'd done this before, Martinez told the group, his voice heavy. They find developing civilizations, offer them technological advancement, and slowly take control. By the time their victims realize what's happening, it's too late to resist. Sarah's team worked around the clock, analyzing Meridian technology for weaknesses. They made a crucial discovery. The quantum network had a fundamental flaw. Its efficiency came from perfect synchronization, which meant it could be disrupted by targeted quantum interference. But developing countermeasures would take time they didn't have. The Meridians were accelerating their integration timeline, pushing for complete implementation within months instead of years. They claimed it was for humanity's benefit, to speed up development. Now the group understood the real reason. They were racing against discovery of their true nature. The choice became clear, but it was far from easy. They could expose the truth and risk immediate conflict, or play along while secretly preparing for resistance. Either way, humanity would have to fight for its freedom. The only question was whether they would do it on their terms or the Meridians. Admiral Torres made the final decision. We maintain the illusion of cooperation, but we prepare for war. Dr. Chen, you'll lead the technical team developing countermeasures. Dr. Tanaka, keep studying their communications. We need to understand how they think. Everyone else, start building our resistance network. And remember, everything we discuss here stays here. As the meeting ended, Sarah pulled up the latest satellite data. The number of cloaked Meridian ships had doubled. They were preparing for something, and humanity needed to be ready when it happened. Back in her lab, Sarah worked with renewed purpose. The Meridians had made a critical mistake. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for resistance. They thought their technological superiority made them invincible. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology, but in its determination to remain free. She encoded another message, this time to a wider network of trusted scientists around the world. The quantum resistance would need all the help it could get. The message was simple but powerful. They think they're our saviors, but they're our chains. The choice is simple. Evolve on their terms, or fight for our right to choose our own path. We choose to fight. As Sarah sent the message, alerts flashed across her screen. The Meridians were requesting access to Earth's defense systems, claiming a need to upgrade them. The countdown to confrontation had begun. Humanity would soon face its greatest test, not just of strength or technology, but of will. The price of tomorrow would be paid in the courage of those willing to stand against a power that had conquered countless worlds. But unlike those other worlds, Earth had something the Meridians hadn't counted on, a species that had spent its entire history fighting against those who would control it. The game of deception would continue, but now both sides were playing. And in the quantum labs beneath mountains and behind closed doors in facilities around the world, humanity prepared for a war that would determine not just its future, but its very right to have one. The Meridian technology integration proceeded exactly as planned, both their plan and ours. Every city skyline now gleamed with their silvery structures, their quantum networks pulsed through our digital infrastructure, and their medical facilities promised miracles to the masses. But beneath this shining surface, humanity was preparing for war. Sarah worked from a new lab now, hidden in an abandoned mining complex beneath the Antarctic ice. Her team had grown to include scientists from every major nation, all working in secret to understand and counter Meridian technology. The irony wasn't lost on them. They were using the very quantum network the aliens had given them to coordinate their resistance. "They're getting suspicious," Admiral Torres announced during their weekly secure briefing. "Their requests for access to military installations have become more insistent." Sarah nodded, pulling up a holographic display of global defense networks. "They're following the same pattern we found in the ancient records. First, they integrate with civilian infrastructure. Then, they gradually assume control of military systems. Finally, they reveal their true intentions when resistance becomes impossible." But humanity wasn't following the expected script. While appearing to cooperate on the surface, Earth's militaries were developing new weapons and defenses that didn't rely on Meridian technology. Traditional radio systems were being maintained alongside quantum networks. Mechanical backup systems were being installed in power grids. It was primitive compared to alien technology, but it was pure human, and that made it invisible to Meridian control. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's linguistic team discovered that the Meridians' thought patterns were fundamentally different from humans. They didn't just think collectively. They were collective. Each individual was part of a vast neural network, sharing thoughts and memories across quantum links. "That's why they don't understand resistance," Yuki explained, her eyes bright with revelation. "In their society, individuality is a form of death. They literally cannot comprehend why we would choose struggle over unity." This insight proved crucial. Sarah's team began developing quantum disruption devices that could temporarily sever the Meridians' collective consciousness. In initial tests, isolated Meridians became confused and disoriented, unable to function without the collective's guidance. But time was running out. The Meridians were moving faster now, pushing for complete integration of their systems into Earth's defensive networks. Their ships, no longer bothering to stay cloaked, filled the skies above major cities, a constant reminder of their power. Then came the first test of humanity's deception. A Meridian inspection team arrived at a military base in Kazakhstan, demanding to upgrade its defense systems. They found exactly what they expected: compliant humans installing their technology. What they didn't find was the underground facility beneath the base, where engineers were developing weapons that could target their quantum network. Similar scenes played out across the globe. Humanity had learned to show the Meridians what they wanted to see while hiding its true preparations. It was a dangerous game. One mistake could expose everything. But it was working. Sarah's resistance network grew stronger each day. They called themselves the Human Foundation, a name chosen for its bland innocuousness. On the surface, they appeared to be a think tank dedicated to helping humanity adapt to Meridian technology. In reality, they were building the infrastructure for global resistance. The Meridians' first direct attempt at control came subtly. Their medical facilities began suggesting optional neural implants that would allow humans to interface directly with their quantum network. The benefits were incredible: enhanced intelligence, perfect memory, instant access to vast knowledge databases. But Sarah's team discovered the truth. The implants would make their recipients part of the Meridian Collective, subject to their control. "This is it," Sarah told the Foundation's leadership. "This is how they really take over. Not with weapons, but with promises of transcendence. They'll make us like them, one person at a time." The Foundation launched a counter-campaign, spreading just enough doubt about the implants to slow their adoption. They couldn't prevent people from choosing the technology, but they could buy time for their preparations. Then came the day Sarah had been dreading. Her quantum sensors detected massive energy buildups in the Meridian ships above Earth. They were preparing for something big. "They're ready to move," she told Admiral Torres. "All their ships are powering up weapon systems." The Admiral's face was grim. "How long?" "Days, maybe hours. They must have realized we're not as compliant as we seem." The order went out through secure channels. Initiate Project Phoenix. Around the world, resistance cells began final preparations. Weapons were moved into position. Emergency broadcasts were prepared. Humanity's moment of choice was approaching. Sarah looked at the quantum display showing Meridian ships positioning themselves above Earth's major cities. The aliens thought they had humanity trapped in a web of dependency and control. They were about to learn that humans had been weaving their own web, one of resistance, determination, and the unshakable will to remain free. In her Antarctic lab, Sarah initiated the final sequence for their quantum countermeasures. As she worked, she thought about the price of tomorrow. The coming conflict would change humanity forever. But the alternative, surrender to eternal servitude, was no choice at all. The Meridians had made a fundamental error in their calculations. They had assumed that humanity, like all their previous conquests, would choose comfortable submission over painful resistance. They were about to learn that humans would rather die on their feet than live on their knees. The war for Earth's future was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why you should never underestimate a species that had spent its entire existence fighting for the right to choose its own destiny. The Meridians struck at dawn. Their ships descended from orbit in perfect synchronization, positioning themselves above every major military installation on Earth. Their message was broadcast simultaneously across all frequencies, including their own quantum network. Your attempts at deception have been noted. Submit to full integration or face the consequences of your resistance. They expected surrender. Instead, they received humanity's answer in the form of Project Phoenix. Sarah Chen activated the Quantum Disruption Network with a single command. Across the globe, hidden transmitters powered up, flooding the quantum spectrum with carefully calculated interference patterns. The effect was immediate. Meridian ships wavered in the air as their collective consciousness fragmented. How long will the disruption last? Admiral Torres demanded, watching the tactical displays in the Antarctic Command Center. 10 minutes at most, Sarah replied. They'll adapt their quantum frequencies to compensate, but that's all we need. The real power of Project Phoenix wasn't in the temporary disruption of Meridian technology. It was in what humanity had hidden beneath the surface of their apparent submission. As the aliens' control wavered, humanity's true defenses emerged. Military bases that appeared to house Meridian-controlled weapons revealed hidden arsenals developed in secret. Civilian power grids switched to independent backup systems. Communication networks transferred to pre-digital frequencies that the Meridians couldn't access. But the greatest surprise came from the apparently compliant humans working in Meridian facilities. Years of studying alien technology while pretending to submit to it had taught humanity more than their benefactors realized. As the quantum disruption took hold, these infiltrators executed their own commands through Meridian systems. Alien ships found their weapons turning against each other. Defense platforms meant to control Earth's military instead began targeting Meridian vessels. The web of control they had woven around humanity became a trap of their own making. The Meridians recovered quickly, but the damage was done. Their perfect formation was broken. Their coordinated attack disrupted. More importantly, their aura of invincibility was shattered. They could be fought. They could be hurt. But victory would come at a terrible price. Multiple Meridian ships charging weapon systems, the tactical officer reported. They're targeting major population centers. Sarah had known this moment would come. The Meridians wouldn't accept defeat. They would rather destroy humanity than allow it to resist. But they had planned for this too. Initiate sacrifice protocol, Admiral Torres ordered, her voice heavy with the weight of command. Across the globe, pre-positioned quantum resonators activated. These devices, developed from stolen Meridian technology, created localized disruption fields around major cities. Any energy weapons fired into these fields would be reflected back at their source. The cost was devastating. The resonators would destroy all Meridian technology within their range, including the power systems and medical facilities that millions now depended on. But it was the only way to protect Earth's population centers from orbital bombardment. The Meridians fired. Energy beams lanced down from their ships, only to be caught and reflected by the disruption fields. Several alien vessels were destroyed by their own weapons. Others broke off their attack, realizing the trap they faced. But the aliens had one more card to play. Their quantum network sent out a signal to every piece of their technology on Earth, a self-destruct command meant to throw human civilization into chaos. Instead, they discovered that humanity had been ready for this too. Critical systems had backups. Hospitals had emergency power. Transportation networks had mechanical failsafes. The collapse they hoped to trigger became merely a setback. "They're retreating to high orbit," the tactical officer reported, regrouping for another attack. Sarah checked the status of their quantum countermeasures. The disruption network was already adapting, learning from Meridian attempts to overcome it. But the next phase would be even harder. "They'll try to call for reinforcements," she said. "We need to implement the quantum nullification field now." This was the riskiest part of their plan. The nullification field would prevent any quantum communications from reaching beyond the solar system, but it would also destroy every piece of Meridian technology still operating on Earth. The technological revival they had offered humanity would be undone in an instant. Admiral Torres looked at the tactical display, watching Meridian ships gather for their counterattack. "Do it." Sarah entered the activation codes. Around the world, hidden quantum transmitters reconfigured to create a barrier around the entire solar system. Meridian ships in orbit suddenly lost contact with their collective. On Earth, their remaining technology went dark. The price of freedom would be paid in lost advancement, in destroyed infrastructure, in the hard work of rebuilding without alien assistance. But humanity had made its choice. Better to advance slowly on their own terms than to sprint toward submission. The battle wasn't over. The Meridian ships still in orbit would fight to the last. But they were cut off, outnumbered, and facing a species that had spent months preparing for this moment while pretending to submit. As the first wave of human ships rose from hidden bases to engage the aliens, Sarah thought about the choice humanity had made. The Meridians offered a perfect future, one without struggle or uncertainty. Instead, humanity had chosen the harder path, the human path of determining its own destiny. The price of tomorrow would be paid in sweat and sacrifice, in the effort to rebuild what was lost. But it would be a tomorrow chosen by humanity, not imposed by those who sought to control them. And that made all the difference. The final battle for Earth lasted 3 days. Without their quantum network, the Meridian ships fought as individuals rather than a collective, but they were still formidable opponents. Their technology was centuries ahead of humanity's, their weapons capable of devastating destruction. But they had never faced an enemy who had spent months studying their weaknesses while pretending to submit. From her command post, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Sarah Chen coordinated humanity's defense. The quantum nullification field held strong, preventing the Meridians from calling reinforcements. But maintaining it came at a cost. Earth's own advanced technology, built on Meridian principles, was useless. Status report, Admiral Torres demanded, watching holographic displays powered by old-fashioned electronics. "Meridian forces have split into 3 groups," Sarah reported. "They're trying to concentrate their attacks on our major defense installations." She highlighted the tactical display. "But without their collective coordination, they're predictable. They follow standard attack patterns we've studied for months." Human forces had adapted to fighting without advanced technology. Conventional weapons had been modified based on knowledge gained from studying Meridian systems. Fighter pilots flew aircraft with mechanical controls instead of quantum interfaces. Ground forces used radio communications that couldn't be hacked by alien technology. The turning point came on the second day. A group of Meridian ships attempted to breach the quantum nullification field over the Pacific. They didn't realize they were being led into a trap. Submarines hidden in the ocean depths launched electromagnetic pulse weapons, specially designed to overload Meridian shield systems. 3 alien capital ships crashed into the sea. But victory required more than just military success. Sarah's team had discovered something crucial about Meridian psychology during their years of study. The aliens didn't just prefer collective action. They were psychologically dependent on it. Extended isolation from their network caused mental deterioration. They're breaking formation, the tactical officer reported. Multiple ships attempting independent actions. Without the guidance of their collective, the Meridian fleet began to fragment. Some ships retreated to high orbit. Others launched desperate, uncoordinated attacks. A few attempted to land, perhaps hoping to establish direct contact with their technology on Earth's surface. None succeeded. Human forces had spent too long preparing, too long studying their enemy while pretending to be conquered. Every Meridian tactic had a counter, every strategy a response. The final confrontation came at dawn on the third day. The remaining Meridian ships gathered for one last assault on the quantum nullification network. They had finally realized that this was the key to humanity's resistance. If they could break it, they could reconnect with their collective and call reinforcements. They're making their move, Sarah announced, watching the tactical display. All remaining ships on an attack vector toward the primary nullification transmitter. Admiral Torres nodded grimly. Spring the trap. This was the moment they had planned for. As the Meridian ships approached, hidden defense platforms emerged from camouflaged positions around the globe. These weapons weren't based on alien technology. They were purely human innovations, developed in secret while pretending to adopt Meridian systems. The aliens had never considered that humanity might advance on its own, might develop new technologies while appearing to depend on theirs. The weapons that engaged their ships were unlike anything they had encountered in their long history of conquest. The battle was brief and decisive. Without their quantum network, without their collective consciousness to coordinate their actions, the Meridian ships fell one by one to humanity's coordinated defense. In the aftermath, Sarah stood in the ruins of a Meridian control center, examining the alien technology that had nearly conquered them. The quantum network was dead, its promises of advancement now just empty metal and dark crystals. But among the wreckage, she found something unexpected: data crystals containing the full history of the Meridian Collective. They'd done this hundreds of times, she told the emergency council that convened in the days after the battle. They find developing civilizations, offer them advancement, and slowly take control. But they had never encountered a species that chose to fight rather than submit. The price of victory was enormous. Every piece of Meridian technology on Earth was now useless. Cities had to be rebuilt, power systems reconstructed, medical facilities retooled. The advancement they had been offered was gone, replaced by the harder path of developing their own technology. But humanity had gained something more valuable than alien technology. They had proven that advancement without freedom was no advancement at all. The knowledge they had gained from studying Meridian systems would help them develop their own solutions, their own path forward. We've received signals from other systems, Admiral Torres reported in the final council meeting. There are more civilizations out there, some of them former victims of the Meridians. They want to establish contact. Sarah looked at the star map showing potential allies among the stars. The Meridians had unwittingly given humanity a gift: the knowledge that they weren't alone, and the opportunity to build relationships with other species who understood the value of freedom. We'll meet them as equals, she said, not as conquerors or conquered, but as species who understand that true advancement comes from choice, not submission. The quantum nullification field was maintained, modified to allow controlled communication, while preventing any future attempts at technological subversion. Earth began the long process of rebuilding, this time on their own terms. The price of tomorrow had been paid in sacrifice and struggle, in the choice to face a harder path rather than submit to comfortable servitude. But as humanity looked to the stars, they did so not as a conquered species, but as one that had proven itself worthy of its place among them. The Meridians had offered a future of perfect unity and technological marvel. Humanity had chosen a different path, one of freedom, determination, and the right to choose their own destiny. And in that choice, they had discovered their greatest strength: the unwavering will to remain free, no matter the cost. The price of tomorrow was high, but the cost of surrender would have been higher. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't in defeating the Meridians, but in proving that true advancement comes not from what you're given, but from what you choose to become.